No? Hello and welcome to Little Antique Me. Today we're trying a little something different. Recently I made a 18th century inspired gown, which I will link below so you can see the process of that. And so today I thought I would try some of the beauty tips and then also do my big reveal of my dress and it all to put together. And yeah, I've been reading a lot in this book, which I will put up somewhere here. It was an 18th century beauty guide. A lot of it I'm not going to follow because I don't happen to have like animal fat just lying around for me to put in my hair. So we're going to skip that. But I thought I would try a couple of the little things that I found in there and see what I come up with. So yeah, here we go. Okay, to start, I'm going to do my face and I'm going to kind of walk through that a little bit. I'm going to first wash my face, and I noticed a lot of the things that they recommended was like an oil wash and then a lavender toner and things like that. So I am just using my micellar water, or however you say it, to remove any extra grossness from my face. Typically I would use a cotton ball, but I'm currently out, and since I'm under quarantine I'm going to use what I've got on hand. Alright, so I'm going to dip that in and just kind of rinse the face. Alright, once that is done, set that aside. We're going to use my lavender toner I made yesterday. So I used some dried lavender leaves and I infused it in with some white vinegar, and it recommended it for keeping the face nice and toned and lightened. And because I was reading that a lot of the things that they really recommended was a very light face, so no tan, which unfortunately I can't necessarily get rid of my tan, but that's okay. And so we're going to, again, use a little cotton round. I'm going to dip it in there. It's a really lovely color. And tone my face. They kept their makeup fairly natural. I'm going with more of what they would have called the English look as opposed to the French, so I'm not going to do the full-on white powdered and all that. And same with my hair, I'm not going to do the full powdered look either because, again, I don't have all of those supplies readily on hand. So for my face though, I was reading that they sometimes darken their eyebrows with soot or charcoal. So I happen to have a candle that has some soot in it. And so we're gonna give that a go. I'm going to just use my finger, I guess. Oh no. Okay, well, that's something. We're gonna leave it like that. Next, I was reading a lot about how they kept their eyes pretty natural, so I'm gonna do that as well because I don't want a super like over the top look. I'm gonna stop messing with my eyebrow. Oh, okay. I think that's good enough. Okay. So I ordered I ordered a little sample from the LBCC Historical Apothecary, which you can find on Etsy, and I'll put a little picture up for you guys. I ordered their 18th century rouge, which can also be used as a lip color. Some of the things I read is that they used like one product for multiple uses. And so for today, I'm going to use this not only as a rouge, but I'm also going to use it as my lip color to keep kind of a very natural look. So we are going to hopefully take the lid off carefully. Set that aside for now. I've actually tested this earlier just to make sure that it was gonna work on my skin tone. So I'm gonna just kind of dab it on like that. And I was reading on the apothecary's website, the more you apply, the more concentrated it is. So we're gonna work on a nice rosy cheek, but not over the top. And last but not least, we are going to apply it to our lips. So I'm just going to dab it on. It has a very nice smell to it. We are going to move on to hair. For my hair, like I said, I'm not going to do the full-on powder and animal fat pomade, but I am going to use my Lady Luck hair pomade. I'm going to use my smoothing brush, a comb, and some bobby pins. I also didn't set it like an 18th century look, so keep in mind this is just an inspired hairstyle because I do have really short bangs, and also I'm going to be wearing a hat, so it's going to be covered anyway. But we're going to give it a go. I saw these pictures, which I will put up here, of some 18th century paintings, and then I also was inspired when I was watching Pirates of the Caribbean, and I really liked her hairstyle, so we're going to kind of work with those kind of looks. So here we go. So for my roller set, I used pillow rollers with the Lotta Body lotion to set it. I used a setting pattern where I rolled all of the rollers from the front of my hairline to my crown back, and then from my crown to the nape of my neck I rolled upwards, and to hopefully encourage all of the hair to end up meeting at the top of my head, and also to give it the fullness I needed for this style. I was reading in several of the books from the 18th century. For styles like this, they would have used basically like a tissue paper that they would have put on the hair, wrapped it up tight, and then applied heat to create the fuzz that I am currently creating in the front of my hair. And that held a lot of the styles. They also used hair donuts or hair pumps to create a lot of the different texture, volumes, and shapes, but I'm not using any of those. I'm going to go ahead and apply quite a bit of my Lady Luck pomade to my now teased hair. This will give it the smooth finished look that I need. And then I'm also going to use my smoothing brush, and as I was brushing it I noticed that it was already starting to take the shape that I wanted, so I went ahead and just used my hand to hold it and then used a bobby pin to pin it into place. And then basically the rest of the style I just kind of smoothed and pushed and pulled wherever I thought it needed more volume or less volume, and adjusted as I went. My bangs, since they're quite short, gave me quite a bit of trouble. I backcombed them quite a bit, added a lot of Lady Luck pomade, which is great because they ended up being really nice and soft afterwards, and then ended up actually off camera curling them back towards the back of my head and then just trying to smooth them in the best I could. For the back of my hair, I applied my hair weft that I've used in a couple videos to create a braided look back there. So I just pinned it to the back of my head and then placed the rest of the curls over top of it so that you wouldn't see the top of the hair weft. After I got those pinned into place, I went ahead and did a very loose 3-strand braid all the way to the ends of my hair weft, and then just bobby pinned to hold it together so that it wouldn't come unbraided. And then what I did was I kind of checked the back to see what it looked like and decide where I wanted it to go. And once I pinned those extra curls that had fallen, I went ahead and basically just grabbed the braid and folded it up on top of my head and then pinned it across the back. And then I folded it back down upon itself and pinned it into place while also tucking those extra ends underneath all of it to hide them and to make it blend easily into the back of my head. As you can see, some of the ends are still sticking out, so I eventually go ahead and tuck those in as well. After pinning that into place, I decided to pull out a few little strands around the edge just to make it look a little softer. Messing with those bangs again, because boy, they gave me a hard time. My pomade sure came in handy for it though. And then just kind of smoothing them with my comb, and I think I eventually went back over with my smoothing brush as well. Alright, let's get dressed. The first thing I have on is my chemise, which I've been wearing this entire video. It's a cotton nightgown slash slip, if you will. My pair of stays is made out of leftover dress material as well as leftover cotton material from my chemise. My stay cords I ordered from Burnley and Trowbridge. They are based off of a original 1760s cord from a pair of stays that they had found and they got to study and recreate. So this is actually the first time I've laced myself into my own stays. My husband has been very kind and has been my handmaiden and laced me in the last couple of times. There is also laces up the back of these stays as well that you can't see that I had already laced before the video. Next I go ahead and tie that into a nice bow. I'm going to put on my bum pad, which gives the silhouette of the 18th century. So folder in the back and a smooth flat front. Tie that. And then I'm going to put on my pockets. I've also put on my petticoat, and my pockets will sit to the side. They move on this string to allow me to move them in place. I followed an online tutorial from, again, Burnley and Trowbridge on how to make these, and they were so much fun and really easy to make. Next comes the stomacher. So my stomacher has little tabs on the side for me to pin it to my stays. And so I'm just using these straight pins, or well, actually they're silver pins that I have for this particular purpose. And so I pin the tab onto the actual stays. Alright, now for the overdress. So my overdress I am going to pin on much in the same way as my stays. So I'm going to pull it to the front and then adjust my pockets. So I have openings on the side of my dress for my pockets, and make sure that they're all nice and even. And now I'm going to go ahead and pin the dress with the same pins, which is quite tricky to be honest, to the stays and then also around the stomacher. To finish this look, I use one of the hats I already have and use some of the leftover material to place it on my head. I will also go back and pin the front of my dress before taking pictures. To also keep my hat in place, I am using a couple of my very old hat pins to finish off the look. thank you so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this 18th century inspired look, and then also the big reveal of my dress and all the fun garments that went with it. And if you haven't seen the time-lapse video of me making it, I will link that below. May God bless you and keep you this week, and I'll see you next time. Bye! What you cannot see is that off camera, my children are thoroughly enjoying watching their mom struggle putting candle soot, ash, whatever, on her eyebrows. It's for, what am I trying to say?
They use one thing for two things.
Yeah.